Mm, so I actually thought in this book Harper was a really good side character. I thought that the main character was done really well. The female um, point of view was really good. And I felt like the male point of view was just like very diminished. And I feel like the author does the stereotypical thing in like fantasy paranormal romances where, you know, it's like this evil, powerful vampire that's like cold on the outside, but like really warms up to you once you know them. And it's just like, to me, like, it feels a little bit like a wish fulfillment trope for women. And I couldn't help but wish that in a book that I would otherwise, you know, that I do think is worth 5 stars, in a book that I do think is worth 5 stars, I think one area for improvement is just changing, you know, the male lead to someone who's not so stereotypical. But the thing is that I'm not a big fantasy romance reader. I will read fantasy because it's fantasy, not because it has romance in it. And I don't mind a romance side plot. Nowadays I typically don't read, you know, fantasy books that have romance front and center like this one. So in other words, I'm reading a book in a genre that's not really a genre that I normally look for. So who knows, like maybe readers of this genre will really love Tiggin. He was okay. And I felt like the romance part was good. It was good. But yeah, I would like to see the author experiment with like different kinds of male leads. Ones that aren't, you know, just like traditional stock from this genre. Why did I think that this book is worth 5 stars? Yeah, so this book has 4 stars on Amazon, and I am so surprised because when I picked it up, I could immediately tell that the prose was really good. And for me, like, I have a different standard of prose than some other people. I fall more on the Ernest Hemingway camp, and that I prefer clear, concise writing. I like metaphors, I like similes, I like symbolism, but my eyes should be able to travel quickly through the page. And so based on my standards of writing, I think that she's an expert in writing well. And I would even love for the author to try to write a mystery, maybe like a political intrigue that isn't centered on romance. Because I think that the plot progressed at a good pace. The character development was great. It also progressed at a good pace. The main character, Bree, was really fleshed out, very authentic, very relatable, very courageous, but in a realistic way. And again, I started off with this, but I think that like one of the unexpected highlights in this book was seeing Bree's family relationship. So I think that this author is really good at conveying both the warmth of family and also the pain that broken family bonds provide. And that's what really stayed with me with this book. I thought that the setting was richly imagined. The architectural and the art details were things that I noticed and appreciated. But I do feel like I suspect that maybe the author took a lot of setting inspiration from Harry Potter. Right? For founders, the details of the school, similar to the details of Hogwarts. I assume she's weaving together a lot of mythology of the Fae and fairies, which I'm not familiar with. But, I think I'd like to try, I think I'd like to see her try to imagine her own magic setting and try to imagine her own rules of magic. I think that that's what I'd like to see.